So first thing I want to do in creating bifold doors is make sure I am on the bifold layer. So I'll go up to Layer Control or just hit the pull down and double click on the door layer. My door layer is a cyan color. Again, down here I'm going to create a set of bifolds, and here I'm going to create a set of sliding doors. So the first thing I'm going to do down here is I'm going to use this inside wall of the closet. I'm going to make sure midpoint is turned on for my object snaps, and I'm going to choose the line tool and snap to the center of the closet. I'll come across perpendicular to the outside of the wall, and then I'm going to offset this up and down half the distance of the opening for the bifolds. So I'll type in offset, and then I need to figure out the distance that I'm going to create the bifold doors for this closet. Stuardo, we're following along here? No, you're not. FYI. So when we offset, one of the things we don't want to do is kind of create hidden zones in closets. So in other words, if I just offset this a little bit left and right or up and down, I'm going to create big gaps or corners in the closets. That is not a smart thing to do, because then stuff's going to get kind of tucked in behind those corners. It's going to get lost in there. We want to try and open up this closet a reasonable amount. So I'm going to offset this one 24 inches up and 24 inches down. So I'll select the center line, I'll go up, and as well I'll go down. Now because I'm using and creating an opening that is so large, 4 feet in total, what I'm going to do is create 2 sets of bifolds. So the doors will slide to the left or the right or up or down, both of those directions. And anything over 3 feet, I am going to create 2 sets of doors for. Anything under 3 feet will be 1 set of bifolds. So this closet, I have a 4-foot opening. It's going to be 2 sets. So each half of the bifold is actually going to be what size? Any suggestions? 32 inches. Yeah, close, but not even close. 24 is the total of the 1/2, so it's going to be 12 inches, correct. Now you could do this a couple different ways. First of all, we need a line on a 45-degree angle coming across, showing the bifold in a partially opened position. You can do that a few different ways. It's totally up to you. You could use a relative coordinate with an angle. Or you can cheat and just move your mouse on something that appears to be close to 45 and type in 12 and enter. Now once I have that single line, that line is what I'm going to use for the rest of the door. So I'm going to offset this 1.5 of an inch. That's going to be the thickness of my bifold. I'm then going to cap the end to make it a full rectangle. Once I've capped the end, I've got my 1/2 of one side of the bifolds. So I'm going to take these 4 lines and I'm going to mirror them. So I'll choose the mirror tool, I'll select the top and the bottom, those 4 lines, and then my mirror point is going to be the tip of the bifold here. I'm going to turn my ortho back on, which is F8, so I'm drawing again horizontal lines, and there is my bifold. Now this is just half of it. So what I'm going to do is either mirror both pieces through this center point to bring it to the other side, or I can copy it and choose a base point from this point here, or I should say this point, and copy it up to the top half. It's either or. So I'm going to copy these by just selecting them all, right-clicking, go to copy. My base point is going to be right there, and then I'm going to come up and paste it to that side of the door. I didn't choose the base point properly, so I'll redo that and move it over. So I'll copy all of those pieces, right click, gonna hit move, base points there, and have it snap to the end. I did that really well. That's a mess. Now once I've drawn all the pieces, that is weird. And not extra pieces that I copied. What a mess I made out of this. What I'm going to do is open up the wall and trim it to the ends. So I'll type trim, and I'm not going to enter this time with the trim command. I'm just going to press it once, and I'm going to choose these end lines as my trim points, and then I'm going to trim out the middle. I'm going to delete the middle line. I'll finish by putting these two items on the wall layer. And of course, this would be a little more normal. I'm going to fix it because really made a mess of that. So I'm going to go up and copy these pieces. Grab them from that. Oh, wrong point. Really? Too much lunch today. And there's my bifold. So all that's left now is just basically to label these bifolds. And these bifolds are 2-foot bifolds, and there's 2 of them. So this will be 2068. So again, I'll use my text tool, place my start point 4 inches high for my notes, and I'll leave the rotation at 0, and it's going to be 2068. So 2 feet, 6/8. So each one of these doors is a 2-foot door, 1-foot panels that close across the opening of the closet. Now again, different symbols get used by different architectural firms and different people that are creating houses. Sometimes it's just a single line represents them. This is just one way of doing it. Sometimes you'll take a block and insert a block. Lots of different options, and we'll talk about more of those later on. Now for this closet, I'm going to use a sliding door. So it's the same thing. I'm going to find my middle point, and then again there'll be two 2-foot panels. So I'll type in 24, and I'll offset this line up and down. I'm then going to offset the inside wall 3 times. So I'll type in offset again, and they're going to be offset 1 inch. And so really it's almost like we're making a vertical window, but it's going to be slightly different. I'm now going to trim off my lines. And the way I'm going to trim them is obviously to the end. So I'll bump out these. Then I'm going to get rid of the middle line on one side and the other 2 lines on the opposite side. I'll delete those 3. Oops. Undo. Undo. I'll trim this other middle one and then erase these other 2 that are left over. I'll trim off these little pieces. And as well, the opening to the wall. Switch over the end lines. Put those on the door layer. wall layer. And put the other pieces on the door layer. So this is indicating that this is sliding across. You can offset this as well. And that could be offset 1 inch in that direction, and then I'm going to offset that in one direction and just trim up that line. Or erase it. Hello. Thank you. Just so that we can see two doors that basically slide past each other. Now again, a door like this is going to be labeled appropriately. With this, I'm going to put more than just its size, because I want to be specific about what this is. So I'm going to set it to 4 inches, rotation of 0, and then I'm going to type in what this is. So we've said this is a 4-foot opening. So it's a 4.0, and it's 6'8" high for all of our doors. I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to type in what it is. So in my case, it's a mirror slider. We can just position this nicely. It doesn't have to be all hanging out in the middle of the hallway. Varden, see you later. Go out in the hall. No, go. Go. Don't waste any more of my time. You can thank Anoop for that. And so when we have something that we want specific, we need to be specific about it. So if this is just a straight 4068 slider, we're just going to put 4068 with the symbol. We know exactly what the symbol means. We know what to create. But if we want something mirrored, or we want something self-closing, or we want something that is different and unique in some way, we're going to put a note on our drawing that represents that. So my expectation is that on your plans, you will have either a bifold. Well, you will have a bifold, at least in one closet. And you'll also have a mirrored slider or some other slider. And again, it's for closet openings. Now, the last one I want to show you is going to be a sliding door that is what we call a pocket door. A pocket door gets framed into the wall, and the door literally slides inside the wall. Now, they're not the most strongest doors in the world because it's very thin material that they get made out of, and you literally buy the whole frame. So the whole frame is twice the size of the door, and the door gets hung inside that frame. So I'm going to do it right here, leading into my laundry room. I don't want a door that swings into this laundry room because I'm going to have a door here that goes into, well, I haven't decided yet, but a door that has to go into my small washroom there, my powder room. So I want to put it here because I want to limit the amount of space that's being taken up in this laundry room by the door itself. So again, typically what I'm going to do is draw a line in one of the corners, and then I'm going to offset that 2 inches. I'll delete my first line, and now I have the establishment of where my door is planning on going. Now, in case of this door, I cannot have it slide to the right. If it slides to the right, it's going to hit this closet. And my closet is going to have a bifold that opens up here. So if it slides, it's going to hit the wall for the opening of that closet. So my bifold has to go in this direction. And there's plenty of wall for it to be able to do that. Now this pocket door, I'm going to offset this line. And I'm going to offset it to standard door width, which is 32. And I'm going to offset this twice. Once and a second time. And so this is how much space the actual framing of this pocket door is going to take. Next, I'm going to offset the wall in 1 inch on both sides. So I'll take it here, I'll offset it, here, I'll offset it, and then once more in the middle. So again, I have 3 lines that run through the middle of my wall. I'm then going to trim those off to these 2 end lines as well as to the center line. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim all of the lines going past the end points of my lines for the pocket door and the wall. The second thing is I'm going to define the door. So the door for me has to be on this side, sliding in that direction. So the door is in the open position. So am I going to trim the left or the right? Door has to slide here. The door will be in the open position. So the door is going to be in the wall. So I'm going to slide this to the left. Then I'm going to show with a single straight line the movement of the door coming across. Now again, I'm going to trim the opening. And so the opening for this door is right here. Then what I'm going to do is trim the ends of the door. And I'm going to leave this the way it is for now. I'm going to select all my door pieces. And I'm going to put them on the door layer. I'll then select my wall pieces, and I'm going to have to redo this and put it on the wall layer. Now this little line here, part of it is the door and part of it is the wall. So what I'm going to have to do is literally delete that line and then create 3 separate lines running across here. There's the first one, the second one, and the third one. And so now I can choose these 2 little pieces, which will be the wall, and then the door is the middle piece. So I have my wall coming across just part way to pinch the door inside the wall and to create the opening. Now because this is a 32-inch door, I've defined the style of doors, so I don't need to type anything other than its size. So 32 is going to be 2 feet, 8 inches, by 6 feet, 8 inches. So 2'8", 6'8". And I'll leave it right there at the door. So this is what we call a pocket door. Over here we've got a sliding door. One piece slides past the other. And here we have a set of bifolds. Now when you're creating any types of doors, typically what I suggest is that the thickness of the door be as accurate as possible. So if we were to take a look at these solid wood doors that we have attached to our room here, they're almost 2 inches in thickness. They're 1 3/4 inches. Most house doors, if you were to measure your door at home, are approximately 1.5 inches. So most of these offsets that I do are going to be 1.5 inch. Now the exception was the pocket door, because I just offset these lines 1 inch. It'd actually have to be 1 1/4 inch if I really wanted this door to be 1.5 inches thick. I don't really care. It's not a big deal. So oftentimes I just offset them 1 inch and draw them in place. Now again, different architectural firms, different companies are going to have different ways of drawing these types of doors. If you were to Google it, you would see that there's lots of different styles of drawings for floor plans. These, in my mind, are very self-explanatory as to the style of door that you're going to be using, and are a good way of indicating them so that you don't need a lot of notes or some major degree to figure out what in the world somebody's drawn. Any questions about those 3 styles of doors? How much what? Well, that one's a 4086 because it's 4 feet wide, the opening. The opening can be whatever you want. Could be 5 feet. But again, we want to really limit the amount of sort of hidden area in the closet because this will end up losing a bunch of stuff. We want good access to our closet, so we want the bifolds to run across as much as possible. Now, if I was to do this closet, it's just going to be a single 3-foot door. So again, I find the middle. I offset this 18 inches to the left and right. And then I'm going to have two 18-inch pieces. So I'll draw my angled line, get my angle set, and then type 18 and enter. And then I'm going to offset that 1.5. Cap off the ends with a couple lines. And again, if your snap starts playing with you, just hit F9 and turn it off. And then this set of bifolds, I'm going to mirror it. So I'll select the lines. My mirror point's right there. And I'll mirror it across. I will trim out this area up to those two lines. And then just change these two. And so all I need for this is literally just a single bifold door. It's under 3 feet, well, it is 3 feet. So that's going to leave me with minimal sort of gaps in the corners. And that's perfectly fine. One thing you always want to sort of double check is just, do I want this set of doors opening up to the left side or to the right side? And you kind of have to evaluate based on the position of the closet and where it is and stuff. And I would probably take this and literally move this to the other side. So it opens up away from the busier section. So I just copy or move it from the corner and just slide it over the other way. Just because this is kind of the main traffic area for this house. So as people will be coming down here and then heading down this hallway. So it's just easier to grab that knob and slide this door to that direction than bringing it back towards where you're probably coming from. And this door for my text is a 3068. And again, I just slide this, position it nicely by the door,